Last year I spoke at the SALT Convention. The SALT Convention is where billionaires from around the world gather. They gather in Vegas once a year to talk about how they're going to change the world. There's a couple hundred billionaires in this world. They all come to Las Vegas once a year at the SALT Convention. I was asked last year to be the keynote speaker. And I'm tripping because I'm not a billionaire. And I asked a guy who asked me to do it, I said, I'm not a billionaire, you do understand that. We said, Mr. Harvey, we know everything about you. We know your net worth and everything. I said, well, what can you all learn from me? He said, everything. He said, the reason we want to hear your story is because the majority of us that are billionaires, we inherited some money. And we grew it. A couple of us inherited $1 billion, we automatically. Some of us inherited 300 million, and we turned it into $1 billion. You come from nothing. What we want to know is how you got to where you are after coming from nothing. How did you live in a car for 3 years and wind up on more TV shows than anybody? How did you survive flunking out of school? How did you survive all of that? We want to know that, because in case something happens to us, we don't really have the information that you have, or how to come from the back to the front, or how to come from the bottom to the top. So I get asked oftentimes to speak. What I told them was really compelling, because they almost had to never hear it, because they never had to learn it. See, if you've never been in the bottom, there's some stuff you ain't never had to know. But all of you that have been in the bottom, you know it oh too well, don't you? And so when I was telling them how I made it, I was telling them about the fortitude that I developed. And then I told them about the faith that I had. And that was really startling to them. Now, a lot of them are people of faith. But a lot of people who were born with a lot of money ain't really had to have a lot of faith. You understand? You have an idea of what it feels like. You've seen some kids get put in foster care. You've seen Child Protective Services come to somebody's house. You've seen kids come to school with less. You might have been one of the kids that went to school with less. You have struggled to give your kids a better life than the one you had. They don't hear this. But I'm going to tell you something right now. You can be successful without an education. You can be successful without coming from a rich family. You can be successful. I don't care what color you are, what faith you belong to, your sexual preference. I don't care what's wrong with you. You can be successful. I'm going to tell you flat out, you have got to tie your existence to your Creator. If you don't tie who you are to God, I got news for you. You're going to forever struggle. Now, this is what I'm telling you is something you can do today. You ain't got to go to school to get this one. You ain't got to have no meeting with nobody. I'm telling you that if you solidify a relationship with God, you ain't got to ask nobody's permission. You ain't got to check in. He ain't got no line. You can go and form this relationship today, this evening, when you get home. Listen, man. You can shortcut this. I ain't got no education. I flunked out of school. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I had a severe stuttering problem growing up. I've been picked and teased my whole life. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. What you finna tell me that I don't know about him? I will tell you what God can do. He can do anything. God can pick you up when you're at your lowest moment. God can take your existence and turn it around. Now listen to me, I ain't no preacher. I'm a street cat. You understand? I'm not a good Christian. I'm a Christian, you know. But I'm at best, I'm an entry-level Christian. I don't do advanced Christianity. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably like a 2. But I got news for you. That's all you got to be. Because you know why? Because there's none perfect No, not one. There are no perfect people.